Hello. This is the HalfSaneFox, and yeah, we're doing reviews. We were supposed to record this ages ago, but we actually forgot. Or wait, yeah, I guess we kind of forgot.
Yeah,
This is, huh?
and it's a newer thing after we finished it. So
Yeah, we planned this after we finished Final Fantasy. Oh, around when I started to finish Final Fantasy, and then we realized only after we were about to finish our second and third series that technically we've already completed one series, which was Stellaris. So, Stellaris, we played cooperatively, and it went so poorly on our end that. Uh. Yeah. We cut the series short in video form. The VODs are all still there, but yeah. We do have a criteria for review, and I'm just going to come out and say this. Most of this review is for the cooperative game mode specifically, which is in beta. Because if you were to ask objectively, does the game function as intended? In my opinion, because this is still always opinions in the end, even if we are trying to do objective, yeah, Stellaris played as Stellaris. It was just the cooperative aspect that fell through, which isn't the game so much. How much do you actually remember of everything, Mellon?
um, not a lot. I'm actually reading the comment discussion you had with that guy in the final episode.
Yeah. So, one of the objective questions, does the game function as intended? Yes. Does the game run smoothly? It did when we had it all thing. Does a control scheme make sense? I enjoy. I didn't have an issue with it. Did the story match? That's not applicable. Menu appearance and ease of use. That was fine. Other than the one time it crashed, but those were mods. That's not the game's fault.
Yeah, Fox overloaded his GPU.
Yep. Either that or I overloaded my CPU. One of the two. There was one major issue for the cooperative experience, and that was between me and Mellon. Cooperative only functions if both people are in agreement. And so the number of times Mellon would take action without telling me or showing me often resulted in me yelling at Mellon. And subjectively rather, made the game worse.
Yeah,
Because the most indicative of this, and this never made it into the videos, but most indicative of this was at the very end. I made the simple statement. We were playing Menace. I made the simple statement. Ignore the enemy planets, destroy their fleets, protect our worlds. This led to a disconnect between me and Mellon, where Mellon wouldn't stop recapturing stolen worlds because I didn't consider them our worlds, and so I kept trying to steal the armies back from Mellon because he was wasting our armies on a fleet on planets that weren't ours. It got to the point where I actually brought in our Star Eaters and told them to blow up those stars so Mellon couldn't go back and capture the worlds. Because we couldn't defend them. They weren't ours. They weren't inside our systems. We didn't have relays that could defend them. We didn't have a fleet. We didn't have starholds. And for some reason, Mellon would keep recapturing these worlds, and I just told him to stop it, and he wouldn't. Which is an issue between me and Mellon, as I said earlier.
yeah,
But the lack of logs of what your partner is doing is actually kind of incredibly annoying. Because there was so many times where I was like, Mellon, what are you doing? And he was renaming planets. He was renaming armies. He was moving fleets without telling me. He was reinforcing fleets when we didn't have the alloys. And I'm not going to claim that I was better. I'm not. I wouldn't always state exactly what I was doing. I would often, and I'm pretty sure there was times when Mellon would like to know what I was doing. Because I was in charge of, we kind of split what we were doing, and we split it poorly. I should have put Mellon in charge of one sector, and I should have been in charge of another sector. Instead, and he should have had his fleet and his army, and I should have had my fleet and my army. Instead, we gave all of the command of the planets to me. Starholds was me. Ships were... Everything except for the military was me.
Yeah.
That did not go well. And part of that was I knew the systems, and Mellon didn't. It was part of the reason why we were playing Menace to begin with, was because Menace is super easy. It's one of the easiest game paths to play. Total Wars are always the easiest races because you don't have to focus on managing your democracy. You don't have to manage relations. You don't have to worry about the Galactic Council. You just have to kill everything. And I figured that would be easy enough for Mellon to do. The problem came from when there was a disagreement in plans and a lack of communication, which isn't the game's fault.
Mainly a me fault.
Oh, and me. It's not like I was communicating well either.
Yeah.
Like I said, the disconnect when it came to the planets was Mellon captured a planet that belonged to an enemy. He now categorizes it as our planet. I categorize it as a captured enemy planet. So when I told him to focus on protecting our planets, captured enemy planets didn't occur to me. But they did to him. And so he would move the fleets away from the opposing fleets to go recapture the recaptured planets that I was telling him to ignore.
I was also trying to I believe I was trying to also do that so it would have a easier hyperspace lane for reinforcements coming back.
It did not matter. Those areas were already annihilated, dude. It's hard to tell. Especially considering it's been so long that neither of us actually completely remember anything.
Yeah.
The cinematics and everything of the game were beautiful. Stellaris is an amazing game. Cooperative specifically failed because it's us. And I think what would really help the most, because it works great in Hearts of Iron, but in Hearts of Iron, there's so little you can do without somebody noticing. That is not true for Stellaris.
And I've never played Hearts of Iron, so I have no correlation.
Right, well, I played it before. But it's like, if I move an army, you would know, because you're watching the front. If I build something, you would know. It shows up in our collective queue. If I change the name of an army, you would know because it changes on both sides at the same time. But the number of times you managed to change something in Stellaris, and I had no fucking idea you were doing that, Stellaris is just too big of a game for the cooperative to work the same way. Like I said, if we were running our own respective sectors and our own respective armies, it wouldn't have been an issue. Especially if we had logs of what the other person was doing. And this is actually a complaint I have for the game specifically. I wish pauses were independent. Because the number of times I paused the game, and I would often say, I'm pausing the game so I could read this. So I'd hit pause. And then Mellon would also hit pause on pausing the game.
Yeah, I then stopped hitting that button.
But then there was a certain point where I would unpause, and it would also, and I would forget to unpause. I'd say unpause. I thought I unpaused. I didn't unpause. And then the game's frozen for 30 seconds, and neither of us know why. because it is so hard to tell who is and isn't pausing the game. So, I guess, in terms of reviewing Stellaris, it's mostly been me speaking, but I think I remember more, and I also had all the VODs, and I worked on the videos, so that makes sense. I remember more.
Yeah.
The game itself wasn't the problem. If I could suggest improvements, independent pausing, and a log of what your allies have been up to would be amazing for the cooperative mode.
And or once you get sectors, the ability to have independent resource pools.
Yeah, that would also be cool. Yeah, that would. I mean, at that point, you're not really. I guess you are still playing cooperative, but the major thing is, unlike Hearts of Iron, which is a micromanagement game, you control the individual armies, you control the war, you control the fronts, all these small little details. You don't do that in Stellaris. You don't have that level of control. It is all macro, which means, or at least the way I play it, it's all macro. There isn't a lot of small individual management. There isn't a lot of... I mean, it would be like trying to play Civ 4 cooperatively, where you're both only controlling a single nation. Like, what are you going to do? It's a turn-based game. There's no space for anything else. One person would be doing essentially nothing, which is what happened.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So in terms of the Stellaris cooperative specifically review, it kind of didn't work. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try and give it an arbitrary score or anything. That was Stellaris.
Those were our thoughts.
Yeah.